of class 12. In my last video, we have learnt about the first part of the story about Rag Picker Sahib and his friends in Simapuri. Okay, now today all of you open page number 17. I want to drive a car. We will come to know about Mukesh, a bangle maker who wants to drive a car. He thinks something different. Now Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. Now do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles, and it is a center of India's glass-blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So, here also the authoress then talks about Mukesh, a young boy who worked in glass furnace in Firozabad, a small town famous for its bangles. Now, most families there works around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles, and people there did not know that it was illegal for children to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures and dirty and small places devoid of air and light. And there were 20,000 such children, of whom many lost their vision working there. Now Mukesh's family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures. Already I explained it, in dingy cells without air and light. Just imagine the condition, devoid of light, and the children work in that. And Firozabad is famous for bangle makers. Many tourists go there to buy bangles, and they also do not know the condition of these children for whom the bangles are made, and where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. Now Mukesh's eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt, and we walk down stinking lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting in a primeval state. And he stops at the door of one such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot, and pushes it open. We enter a half-built shack, and in one part of it, thatched with dead grass, is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves. And on the ground, in large aluminium platters, are more chopped vegetables. A frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Now, through eyes filled with smoke, she smiles. So you see what a pitiable sight and a pathetic sight we notice here, that Mukesh took Annie's junk to his home and a shack with an unsteady iron door, and his house was in one of the foul-smelling lanes with garbage strewn all around. And all the houses were shacks with crumbling walls, with shaky doors, no windows, crowded with families of humans and animals living together in a primeval state, that means an old state. Now in Mukesh's house, Annie's noticed a firewood stove over which spinach leaves were placed in a vessel. Now the frail young woman, that means very weak, tired young woman who was cooking for the whole family, was Mukesh's elder brother's wife. And she is the wife, see the last page, the last line of page number 17, she is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. Not much older in years, she has begun to command respect as a bahu, the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of 3 men, her husband, Mukesh, and their father. And when the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. And as custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. So despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, He has failed to renovate a house, sent his two sons to school, and all he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, the art of making bangles. So, when the older man entered, she reiterated, the lady, a little older to Mukesh, the bohu, was already responsible for looking after three men, her husband, Mukesh, and the father. And when the older man entered, she retreated behind the broken wall and pulled her veil closer to her face. And you notice the use of veil here as a verb, as a noun. In this line, as custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces. This veil is verb. And in the previous line, brings a veil closer to her face. This veil is noun. Okay. So, how the words are played in the story, it is beautifully expressed. Now, when the older man entered, she retreated behind the broken wall and pulled her veil closer to her face. And the elder man was a poor bangle maker, and he had slacked all his life, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, but had failed to repair his house or send his two sons to school. Now, it is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. So can a God-given lineage ever be broken, she implies. Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles. And in the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad, spirals of bangles, sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple, every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow, lie in mounds in unkempt yards and dirty yards, piled on 4-wheeled handcarts pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. And in dark apartments next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers, welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. So Mukesh's grandfather had lost his vision with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. And Mukesh's grandmother blamed his karam, his destiny. So these people could not think of a livelihood beyond bangle making. In the dark hutments, one could see 4-wheeled handcarts. Young children with the parents could be seen welding pieces of colored glass into bangles, and their eyes were better adjusted to the darkness than the natural light outside. So they depended on their fate. They did not believe in their work. Okay. Now, the chapter is very important here about Firozabad, about Mukesh's condition, Mukesh's house. These things are very important for short answer type questions. And after that, you should know about Savita, a young girl. So each and every line is important, as you will have to be very thorough with the text.